TomoNews presents Students versus Teachers.
Michael Ciccarelli is a high school teacher and wrestling coach at the historic King City High School, California. Now, we all know that fathers of teenage girls are known for being a bit overprotective. Ciccarelli isn't a father, but he is strangely protective of one of his 15-year-old female relatives. Noticing she and a boy were absent from wrestling practice, Ciccarelli stormed over and literally ripped off his bedroom door. The teacher found the couple, well, to be medically precise, engaged in sexual activity. So, Ciccarelli had a calm conversation with the two about safe sex, STDs, and waiting for true love. Just kidding. Ciccarelli broke the 15-year-old boy's nose, and here's the kicker, kicked the kid in the face as he sprawled out on the ground. Despite claims he was only defending his relative, a stint at the big house seems likely for Fistarelli. And another thing, why exactly was this teacher so concerned about a 15-year-old girl that ain't his daughter? Kinda creepy, eh?
Middle school student throws baby carrot at teacher and could face an assault charge. This 14-year-old student is finally dealing with the consequences of playing with her food. The girl says last month she came out of her classroom at Moody Middle School and saw her previous year's teacher down the hall, within striking distance. In a bout of silliness, she reached into her pocket and pulled out a baby carrot she says she stashed away after lunch. The carrot, less than 2 inches in length, made for a decent-sized projectile. The girl says she never thought she'd be able to actually connect on her target, but she did. She also never knew that in Virginia, assaulting a school employee on the job is a Class 1 misdemeanor. And a baby carrot can be considered a weapon. Legal experts say a soft carrot is one thing, but striking someone with a raw carrot could be grounds for a battery charge. Suspended for a month and counting, the girl has declined to admit guilt at the request of the school board. She's now awaiting a court summons to find out if an assault and battery charge could follow. While she does, the internet discussion surrounding the carrot attack rages on. Facebook user Becky says, quote, "Carrot aside, it was still a projectile." While Reddit user Zaramaki believes this never would have happened if all teachers were allowed to carry baby carrots. 8th grader charged with felony for changing teacher's desktop background. A 14-year-old Florida student faces felony hacking charges after he used an administrative-level password on a school computer to play a prank on a teacher. The student, Dominic Green, said he learned the password, a teacher's last name, 2 years ago after watching a teacher type it in. Green also accessed a computer that contained encrypted questions of the 2014 Florida Comprehensive Assessment Test. He admitted fellow students would use the password to screen share it with friends. But when he found that the computer he was using didn't have a camera, he decided to switch computers. He then logged onto the laptop of a teacher he found annoying and changed the teacher's desktop background into something inappropriate. A substitute teacher discovered the offense of wallpaper and reported the matter to school officials. Green was next arrested and charged with an offense against a computer system and unauthorized access, a third-degree felony. The 8th grader was also suspended from the school for 10 days, and it's unclear whether he'll return following the suspension. Green was released from Land O'Lakes Detention Center into the custody of his mother on the day of his arrest.
2nd grade pupil spanked by the whole class on orders of teacher. A female teacher at a primary school in Kochi, Japan, asked the whole class to spank a pupil after he turned a deaf ear to her demands. The bullied pupil was enrolled in a special class, but joined a regular class at the end of the school day. When the pupil failed to obey her request he be seated, she asked the other children to give him a spanking. Most of the pupils playfully stroked and tapped him on the rear, but one pupil reportedly slapped him across the face. When his parents heard what had happened, they complained to the teacher. After she reported the complaint to the school, the case gained national exposure. The school later apologized over the incident and punished the teacher for her inappropriate behavior.
Muslim freshman builds clock, gets arrested for making bomb. 14-year-old freshman Ahmed Mohammed was arrested after he brought a clock that he had built to school to impress the teachers at MacArthur High School in Irving, Texas. Mohammed likes to make all kinds of gadgets and inventions, and he wanted to share his passion. The first teacher he showed his clock to said he shouldn't show other teachers. The alarm went off during his English class, and he went to see his teacher after class. She told him it looked like a bomb and confiscated it. Then the principal and a police officer took him to the office where 4 more officers were waiting. Mohammed said one of the officers leaned back in his chair and said, "Yup, that's who I thought it was," even though Mohammed claims he never saw the officer before. He was arrested, humiliated, and led through the hallway in handcuffs while his schoolmates looked on. He was taken to juvenile detention and fingerprinted and had his mugshot taken before he was released. Police accused Mohammed of bringing a fake bomb to school, but he kept insisting his device was a clock. Now his invention is in the evidence locker, and he might still face charges of building a hoax bomb. The principal suspended him from school for 3 days. The hashtag #IStandWithAhmed is trending on social media. Twitter user Queen Feminist wrote, "Students deserve teachers who can tell the difference between a clock and a bomb." And Heron Mogul quipped, "If it was really a bomb, would they have thought it was a clock?" The Dallas chapter of the Council on American-Islamic Relations said Mohammed, who is Muslim and whose parents are from Sudan, was targeted because of his religious and racial identity.
Special needs teacher calls autistic student Oscar the Grouch and puts him in a trash can. The teacher you see here has been arrested for putting a 2nd grade boy with autism in a trash can. It happened here at Mount Bethel Elementary in Marietta, Georgia. Witnesses said special education teacher Mary Catherine Persley was attempting to discipline the autistic 2nd grade student. She compared him to Oscar the Grouch from Sesame Street. Persley said the boy could go in the trash can for his, quote, trashy behavior. At least 3 adult witnesses saw Persley hold the student by the ankles and place him in the trash. The teacher, who has been an educator for 21 years, was arrested, but amazingly is still on paid leave while the school district investigates. She has been released on a $5,000 bond. Who do you think the trashy person is? The person you see here, or Oscar the Grouch?
Student faking terminal illness jailed for ruining teacher's life. 22-year-old Alyssa Bianco from Cornwall wove a web of falsehoods that destroyed the life of 39-year-old Sally Ritalek, her former tutor, who was only trying to help her. Bianco made up a string of cons that eventually led to Ritalek losing her house, her job, and her marriage. Bianco came to live with Ritalek after cooking up a bunch of lies about being abused by her parents and being diagnosed with illnesses that she backed up with fake documents. Ritalek would give Bianco rides to the hospital, where she would sit in the cafe and buy bandages to dress her fake surgeries and forge hospital documents. Eventually, Ritalek's husband left her because of the stress that the crazed pathological lies put on their family. Then, Bianco took it a step further by playing Cupid for Ritalek and setting her up with her doctor, who didn't really exist. She impersonated him in emails and on the phone. On the way to go meet the made-up doctor, Bianco showed Ritalek messages saying that he had died. She even went so far as to tell everyone that she had been given 3 months to live, so she drafted a bucket list, and Ritalek threw her a last birthday party. The deceptions were revealed when Ritalek went to visit Bianco at the hospital, and none of the staff had heard of her. She was discovered in the hospital cafe and admitted to the fabrications. Ritalek left her job and moved to France to start a new life. Bianco was sentenced to 2 years and 8 months in jail after being found guilty of stalking and causing serious harm or distress in a Truro Crown Court.
Teacher forces 3rd grader to unclog toilet with bare hands. Veteran Washington State teacher Brent Taylor admits he forced an 8-year-old boy to unclog a toilet. Not with a plunger, not with rubber gloves, but using his bare hands. That's gross. The boy's parents reported the disgusting deed to school administrators, and the 8-year-old boy has since switched schools over the embarrassing ordeal. An investigation was launched, but Taylor's punishment was nothing short of a slap on the wrist. Taylor was forced to watch a training video on hygiene, the same training video on hygiene he'd watched 2 weeks before he made that poor boy do this. This isn't the first time Taylor has been accused of crossing the line of decency when it comes to students in his care. Local TV station KERP reports Taylor was investigated and suspended for inappropriately touching high school girls. The 8-year-old's parents ain't too happy that Taylor pretty much got off scot-free. and they may have a point. In February 2014, 58-year-old Jennifer Forshee was charged with battery of a child, a third-degree felony, for forcing a 10-year-old to clean a urinal without gloves. What do you think? Did Taylor get off too easy? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below.
Extra action, extra insanity, extra perversion, extra mayhem. TomoNews.net.
A community in Florida went bananas after a teacher touched a student in a way that was deemed inappropriate. The incident took place at North Marion High School in a class taught by Jonathan Hampton, who was leading a discussion on the book One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Specifically, the class was discussing phallic symbols that were found within the story. It just so happened that during this discussion, Hampton was holding a banana that was left over from his lunch. It's unclear why he did this, but during the talk, Hampton allegedly rubbed the banana over the head and neck of one of his female students. The gesture was too much for parents to handle.
Belittled, demeaned, embarrassed, abhorred, I'd be sick. No, I probably would never come back again.
This is Riverstone High School in Sydney, Australia, where according to the local education authority, there are no worries if in class students like Jared O'Hanlon do this, this, and this. But when a teacher like Stephen Cricks does this, well, then that's no longer fair dinkum. The Daily Telegraph tells us that the story dates back to 2011, when Mr. Cricks told student O'Hanlon to take off his headphones in class. O'Hanlon refused, which made Mr. Cricks just a little bit angry. Let's just say Cricks became hotter than a hornet in a bottle when his hoon of a student then told him to f*** off. Not once, but 3 times. O'Hanlon then took it up a notch when he punched his teacher in the face. Doing what came natural, Mr. Cricks then put the grade 10 galah in a headlock, strictly in self-defense. But instead of commending Cricks, the school sacked him. A decision that was upheld by an education commission last week. Now, a Facebook page has popped up in support of Mr. Cricks, where outraged parents and supporters can let off some steam. A petition to reinstate him has also been started. Funny thing is, Riverstone High School's motto is respect, responsibility and recognition. Hard-working Aussie families everywhere are probably wondering, where has the respect gone? Who do you think should have been canned? Teacher or student?